Discover the amazing way a black girl returns milk that changes a millionaire Arab's life forever. Kiara was 12, but she moved through the world like she was a grown-up. Every afternoon, she bustled in and out of her mother's corner store, adjusting the faded sign that hung above the door, welcoming customers with a sense of hope. The vibrant city outside whirred with life, multicultural voices blending together like a beautiful melody. But within those walls, Kiara felt the weight of their struggles: an overworked single mother, bills piling up, the hand-to-mouth existence nagging at their heels. Yet, in those moments, she dreamed of a life where their hard work would pay off. One ordinary afternoon, as Kiara bustled around the store, a big crate arrived. Premium milk. It was a mistake. This delivery was supposed to go to Mr. Farouk, the owner of an upscale restaurant. Kiara, knowing the importance of teamwork her mom always emphasized, grabbed the heavy crate and set off. She panted a bit under the weight, but it felt good to be part of something bigger. It felt like family. When she entered the lavish restaurant, the ambience dazzled her. Crystal chandeliers hung above and aromatic spices filled the air. Mr. Farouk stood there, an imposing figure with a hint of weariness in his eyes. "Thank you, young lady." He smiled, but it didn't light up his whole face. Instead, it felt like a flicker of warmth in a cold room. "I hope this helps," Kiara squeaked, glancing around his elegant space. "Maybe one day you can come to our neighborhood for dinner?" She surprised herself with her invitation, hope flickering bright in her heart. To her shock, Mr. Farouk paused, the weight of her words settling in his mind. "Dinner? Do you mean that?" His lonely smile wavered, eyes widening with a mix of surprise and longing. It turned out that despite his riches, he felt isolated, a luxurious bubble encasing him while real life buzzed beyond. Kiara could see it, an echo of her own world, marred by judgment and misunderstanding. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Their friendship blossomed, fueled by shared dreams and laughter that shattered the walls around them even as misunderstandings crept in, whispering doubt about their differences. Kiara's heart ached with the weight of stereotypes that painted her story into a corner. Meanwhile, Mr. Farouk struggled with the label of an outsider, wealthy yet alone, yearning for companionship in a sea of connections. Then came the day everything changed. A sudden accident at the store left Kiara's mother hospitalized. Chaos exploded like fireworks in her heart. Fear and uncertainty swallowed her whole. But Mr. Farouk stepped in. "How can I help?" he asked, eyes softening with genuine concern. It was the first time Kiara saw him not just as a wealthy man, but as someone with compassion. As the days unfolded, a new bond formed. In their shared struggle and resilience, they learned to lean into their differences. Kiara's hope ignited Mr. Farouk's desire to invest not only in dollars but in the very life of the neighborhood. Perhaps true strength lay in vulnerability, where kindness could build bridges over the chasms of their realities. With anticipation bubbling as neighbors gathered and hearts beat fast with hope, the question loomed: would love and compassion triumph over the shadows of division? As the sun dipped low, Kiara felt electric beneath the facade of urgency. She couldn't shake the feeling something would change tonight. The community was alive with possibility. The sun sank lower, painting the sky with strokes of orange and purple as Kiara stood at the corner of the street, her heart racing with excitement. The neighborhood had come together, a vibrant swirl of colors and voices filling the air. People were setting up tables, stringing up lights, and bustling around with dishes that smelled heavenly. Tonight was a celebration, a feast that would weave together the stories of many lives and transform their community. Kiara's gaze landed on Mr. Farouk, who was standing nearby, discussing details with her mother's friend. He looked different tonight, less like a businessman and more like a partner in a dream. His crisp suit contrasted with the colorful aprons worn by the residents cooking nearby. Despite the surroundings, there was a kindness in his eyes that made Kiara feel a mix of gratitude and nervousness. As she approached him, she noticed that his hands fidgeted slightly, a hint of uncertainty visible in his smile. "Are you ready for this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper yet brimming with enthusiasm. "I am nervous," he admitted, running a hand through his hair, the light catching the strands. "I've never really been part of something like this before." She beamed up at him. "You're doing great. Everyone is excited. You'll see." Helping him find his place in this world felt like a vibrant tapestry weaving together the old and new, the rich and poor. She felt a surge of strength as she watched Mr. Farouk engage with the community, slowly overcoming the barriers built by assumptions and prejudice. But just as the excitement buzzed, a group of skeptical faces approached, their arms crossed and eyes narrowed. Kiara recognized some of them, neighbors who had watched from afar but never joined in. Unsure of him, unsure of the change he represented, they embodied the skepticism that hung heavy in the air. "What is he doing here?" one woman said, her voice sharp as a knife. Kiara felt her chest constrict. "He's helping," she defended, glancing up at Mr. Farouk for support. She could see the tension flicker across his face, but he stood rooted, determined to face the challenge. "Why should we trust him? A rich man from the other side of the city?" Another voice chimed in, rising above the chatter. "He's not one of us." In that moment, Kiara felt the weight of the world resting on her shoulders. The very fabric of their new connection trembled in the face of distrust. But instead of shrinking back, she took a step forward, her heart pounding, the silence stretching like a taut string. "He's more than that. Mr. Farouk, he's our friend. He wants to help us." Her voice rang out, steady and unwavering. "Is that so?" the first woman replied, skepticism lacing her tone. "Yes," Kiara urged, feeling the fire within her rise. "We all deserve to come together, to break down these walls. Mr. Farouk can help us find new possibilities, just like you all helped my mom when she needed it." Mr. Farouk's eyes sparkled with surprise and warmth. The hesitation in his posture softened as he straightened, looking at the gathered crowd with newfound confidence. "I'm here because I believe in this community. Your stories matter. Together, we can create a place of hope." For a heartbeat, silence hung in the air before it was punctured by murmurs, whispers of doubt morphing into curiosity. Kiara watched the group exchange glances. She held her breath, willing them to see what she saw, a chance for connection emerging from the shadows of misunderstanding. However, as the conversation shifted, a feeling of unease rippled through her. She wondered if this was enough. Would they truly embrace the change? Would she be able to build the bridge needed to connect their worlds? And then she felt a flicker of doubt creeping in, the fear of failure gnawing at her insides. What if this moment of hope crumbled into nothingness? As her mind raced with uncertainty, she couldn't help but ask herself, was there enough strength in their hearts to welcome this new reality? Just as she held on to those thoughts, a familiar face appeared in the crowd. Kiara's heart skipped a beat. It was her mother, finally out of the hospital, observing the gathering, a smile illuminating her weary face. But just as delight washed over Kiara, she spotted a shadow lurking at the edge of the celebration, a figure that made her heart drop, an unexpected visitor who threatened to shatter everything they were building. What would happen next? Would fear reclaim the night, or would strength and hope prevail? Kiara's heart thudded in her chest as she squinted through the warm glow of the string lights. The figure that stood just outside the crowd was all too familiar. It was Mrs. Costas, the neighborhood's busiest gossip, always armed with a sharp tongue and an even sharper gaze. Rumors and whispers followed her like shadows, often stirring enough trouble to keep everyone on edge. As Kiara's excitement gave way to anxiety, she could almost feel the air grow heavier. What was Mrs. Costas doing here? What would she say? Kiara felt the excitement of the celebration slip away, replaced by the weight of dread. With the hesitant steps of a soldier facing battle, Kiara approached her mother. "Mom, are you okay?" she whispered. Her mother's smile was warm, but concern lingered beneath it. "I'm better, sweetheart. Just tired," her mother replied softly. "But I wanted to see the community come together." But Kiara hesitated, casting a quick glance at Mrs. Costas. "I don't think she's here to celebrate." Kiara's mother followed her gaze, her brow furrowing slightly. "Sometimes, people need to be reminded of the good that can happen when we come together." Kiara watched the crowd, heart beating fast as Mr. Farouk was still trying to engage those skeptics, pouring his heart into every word. Yet, Mrs. Costas's presence loomed like a storm cloud threatening to break. "Look," Kiara's mother nudged softly, "be brave. Remember what you said to Mr. Farouk. This is about unity." Just then, Mrs. Costas sauntered closer to the gathering, arms crossed, eyes darting to dissect every moment. "What's all this then?" she called out, the edge in her voice sharp enough to catch attention. "Another one of your schemes, Mr. Farouk? You think tossing a few fancy parties will buy our trust?" Kiara's stomach twisted, and a sea of whispers flooded through the crowd. The skeptical faces, emboldened by Mrs. Costas, loomed like storm clouds ready to rain down doubt, but as Kiara watched Mr. Farouk straighten his back, a flicker of defiance ignited in her. This was the moment, an opportunity to stand up for what she believed in. "Mrs. Costas," Kiara said, forcing her voice to remain steady, "it's not a scheme. It's a chance for all of us. We can either continue to live in our separate worlds or take a step together, right now." The crowd shifted. Some faces softened, while others remained hard as stone, unsure whether to embrace the change or cling to the past. "Don't you see?" Kiara pressed on, her heart racing. "Mr. Farouk wants to help us build walls, but walls that connect us instead of divide us. What's wrong with that?" Mrs. Costas raised an eyebrow, the corners of her mouth twitching as if she secretly admired the fire in Kiara. "And you think he can change years of distrust?" Before Kiara could respond, her mother spoke up, her voice unwavering. "Change doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with courage. Every beautiful story starts with one brave voice. We owe it to ourselves and our community, don't you think?" Kiara felt her breath hitch, a sense of hope blossoming within her. Maybe this was how they could turn the tide, not just for Mr. Farouk, but for everyone. Quiet murmurs danced in the air. Small sparks of curiosity ignited, challenging the entrenched perspectives of doubt, but then, as if summoned by fate, another figure appeared. This time it was a young boy holding a soccer ball, full of energy and innocence. He stepped forward, his small voice ringing clear, "If we play together, we can all be friends. Right?" Laughter erupted from the crowd, breaking through the tension, but Kiara knew they still had a long way to go. The shadows that Mrs. Costas cast still lingered. Would this moment of hope last? As she returned her gaze to Mr. Farouk, a fierce determination burned within her. Could they push past the skepticism and truly unite the community? What happens if we all take this leap together, she wondered, a thrilling sense of uncertainty swirling in the air. The laughter hung in the air, a delicate balance of joy and tension, while Kiara felt the warmth of newfound hope wrap around her like a familiar embrace. Yet, the moment was fleeting. Mrs. Costas stood like a shadow, her face unreadable, the crowd still divided. "Playing together sounds easy enough, doesn't it?" Mrs. Costas spoke, her tone dripping with sarcasm, but there was a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. "But what about the parents? What are they going to think? They don't trust Mr. Farouk. How can we?" Kiara's heart sank. That was true. The adults weren't swayed as easily as the children. But just then, a soft voice broke the tension from the back of the crowd. "It's true. When my dad was sick, Mr. Farouk brought us dinners." The boy's mother stepped forward, her eyes shining with the courage Kiara admired. And he would share stories about this place, stories of love and friendship. We all felt his kindness. Kiara felt a surge of gratitude toward the boy's mother. It was a small victory, but a significant one. Maybe if a few more joined them, the community could come together. More parents hesitated, exchanging glances. Was it possible to put aside their reservations for just one moment? That thought ignited a yearning inside Kiara. She stepped up again, her voice steady. You see? Change begins with trust. What if we gave Mr. Farouk a chance to earn it? Let him show us what he wants to build together. A ripple of agreement murmured through the crowd. Kiara held her breath, hopeful but afraid. Would it be enough? Mrs. Costas could sense the tide shifting beneath her feet. She glanced around, her expression tightening. And what of those who are still uncertain? The change might not suit everyone. Kiara glanced at her mother, who squeezed her hand reassuringly. We've all been uncertain, Mrs. Costas, her mother replied. But we can't keep allowing fear to dictate our actions. We could be missing out on the very community we say we want. The shimmer of something impossibly beautiful hung in the air. Possibility. Kiara dared to hope that they could come together, that even Mrs. Costas might come around. But she knew it would take more than hope. Let us make a deal, Kiara proposed, her mind racing. What if we organize a game? A soccer match for kids and parents, where everyone is invited to join, just like you all said. We can share stories, laughter, everything. We might find that we can trust each other after all. Silence filled the air, and Kiara tried to read the crowd's faces. Some looked intrigued, others skeptical. Mrs. Costas, however, began to clap slowly, almost mockingly. A game? Is that your great plan, Kiara? Play soccer and everyone forgets about their concerns? Maybe it's not about forgetting, Kiara replied, fire igniting within her chest. Maybe it's about remembering what brings us together. The doubts in the crowd were palpable, yet curiosity glimmered. Could this young girl stir actual change? Mr. Farouk stepped forward, his voice low and sincere. I believe in this community. I want to see us thrive together. And I'm in. A spark of enthusiasm ignited in several faces, but there were still murmurs of dissent. The path ahead remained precarious, balancing on a tightrope of acceptance and fear. As the night progressed, Kiara felt the weight of eyes upon her, the potential for something monumental teetering at the edge of reality. But would they take that leap? Or would the whispers of doubt drag them back to their old ways? She looked to the horizon, the promise of another day, and held on to the flame of hope within her heart. After all, change was never easy. But sometimes, the smallest actions could lead to the largest transformations. What if together we can redefine who we are? She thought. What comes next could change everything. The next day dawned with a bright sun piercing through the morning mist, casting a golden glow over the neighborhood. Kiara's heart raced as she stepped outside, invigorated by the possibilities that lay ahead. The soccer match was more than just a game, it was her ticket to forge connections, to break barriers. Below her anticipation lay a thread of anxiety. What if no one showed up? She walked towards the park, its lush grass shimmering with dew, the scene so tranquil it felt surreal. As families began to arrive, she felt an electric wave of excitement. Children giggled, parents grumbled playfully, and there was an undeniable buzz in the air. This was different. This was progress. Hey, Kiara! Yelled a familiar voice. It was Ravi, his bright red shirt a beacon in the crowd. He ran toward her, a wide smile on his face. I can't believe you actually pulled it off. Look at everyone. Yeah, but I didn't do this alone, she replied, her smile faltering for a brief second. She thought of the others whose hearts still held skepticism. As more faces appeared, Kiara's worries began to fade. Mrs. Costas arrived, eyeing the scene with cautious optimism. Kiara felt a flutter of nerves. Would she still resist? But as adults settled in, exchanging greetings and small talk, Kiara recognized a subtle shift. Perhaps the common ground of their children's laughter could soothe their fears. "Okay, everyone," Kiara called out, lacing her fingers together to amplify her voice. "Welcome to our first community soccer match. The kids will play, but we all have a part in this. Let us show our support." The children formed teams, their energy contagious, while the parents took to the sidelines, some still skeptical but unable to resist the charm of the moment. Mr. Farouk stood nearby, cheering with a warm smile. Kiara caught his eye, and he nodded approvingly. As the game progressed, Kiara felt invigorated. Shouts echoed, cheers rose, and amidst it all, confidence grew. Mrs. Costas shifted from her usual aloofness, her arms loosening, as she clapped for her son. The unthinkable was happening. Walls that had held fast for too long were beginning to crumble. A particularly well-placed shot sent the ball hurtling toward a group of parents. It landed right at Mrs. Costas's feet. She picked it up, examined it, then turned to Kiara, a spark of humor glimmering in her eyes. "I suppose we all need to get our kicks once in a while, right?" Laughter erupted, bridging the gap between doubt and acceptance. Kiara's heart soared. This was the connection she had hoped for. As the game wore on, Kiara found herself drawn to Mr. Farouk. He was helping a young girl who had fallen, gently soothing her tears. The sight warmed her, stirring a realization within her. This was not just about the game, it was about becoming part of something greater, about unity in diversity. Just then, a commotion arose from the other side of the park. A man stood near the edge, shouting at the children and waving his arms. His face was flushed, anger radiating from him like heat waves. The laughter faded, eyes turned. "Hey! You kids can't just claim this space," he shouted, his voice sharp and jagged. Kiara's stomach knotted. This was everything they had worked against. But as fear coursed through her, something unexpected happened. People stepped forward, parents alongside their children, forming an unspoken circle of support. "We're all here as a community," Mrs. Costas shouted back, her voice ringing loud and clear. "And we're not going anywhere." The tension hung thick in the air, holding everyone in a breathless pause. Kiara stood frozen, watching the showdown. Would fear conquer hope? Could they defend what they had begun? Suddenly, she felt a hand on her shoulder. Mr. Farouk. With his steady gaze, he whispered, "This is your moment, Kiara." In that instant, Kiara realized the true power of what they were doing stretched beyond the match. Would she step forward now, amid the thickening tension, igniting the flame of bravery in her heart? Together, she murmured to herself, "We can face anything." She took a deep breath and stepped up. The crowd fell silent, eyes turned to her. "Everyone deserves a chance to belong," Kiara declared, her voice gaining strength. "That's what we're here to build." But as she spoke, she knew that their fight for unity had only just begun. Kiara felt a surge of courage rushing through her veins as she stood in front of the crowd. She looked at the faces, each one a mix of hope and uncertainty. She had everyone's attention, and the weight of their expectations hung heavy in the air. "You want to be part of something bigger," she continued, her voice steady now. "We're all here for our kids. We want them to play, to learn, to grow together. We need to stand together too." The man's scowl deepened, but Kiara could see some parents exchanging glances. The tension was palpable, a thin wire ready to snap at any moment. In that moment, she felt a wave of solidarity swell around her. Then Mr. Farouk stepped beside her, his presence a solid anchor. "Let us not forget why we're here," he added, his voice calm yet firm. "To build a community. To show our children what respect looks like." Slowly, more voices joined in. Mrs. Costas chimed in, "Yes. We want our kids to feel safe playing here, and that applies to everyone." Kiara felt the energy shift, like a gust of wind stirring the leaves on a still day. The man tried to reply, but the growing chorus drowned him out. Parents stepped forward, arms crossed in unison, defiantly asserting their right to be there. "Yeah!" shouted Ravi, surprising everyone with his enthusiasm. "This park is for us too. We love soccer." The man's anger flickered for a moment, caught off guard by the collective response. Kiara could see confusion radiating from his expression. With every shout of support, hope ignited like fireworks, bright and bold. "Let the kids play!" yelled another parent, echoing the sentiment. "Yeah! Let us show them how it's done!" came a shout from the back, and laughter erupted once more, echoing through the park. Kiara couldn't help but smile. She was witnessing something powerful. The barriers crumbled a little more, piece by piece, stone by stone, as voices converged into a singular wave of unity. The man opened his mouth to respond, but the strength of the crowd was unlike anything Kiara had anticipated. It was no longer just about individual parents supporting their own kids, it was about a community rallying for each other. Kiara felt a hand slip into hers. It was Ravi. He squeezed, determination shining in his eyes. "We won't let him ruin this, right?" he whispered. "No way," she replied, her resolve solidifying. At this critical juncture, a soft voice rose from the back. It was a little girl, no older than 7. "Can we just play soccer?" she asked, her wide eyes full of innocence. The crowd fell silent once again, this time in awe of her simple request. The anger slowly faded from the man's face, replaced by something softer, a reminder of the childhood joys that brought everyone together, no matter where they came from. Kiara stepped forward, her heart pounding with love and hope. "That's all we want," she said gently. "Let the kids play, that's what matters." The man hesitated, his brow furrowing as he looked at the sea of parents standing firm, united against his solitary protest. Kiara met his gaze, silently pleading for understanding. Suddenly, after what felt like an eternity, he nodded. "All right," he muttered, the fight slipping away from him. "But keep it organized." A cheer erupted like confetti taking flight, filling the air with celebration. Kiara felt tears of joy prick the corners of her eyes. They had done it. They had shown strength, resilience, and the power of community. As the children ran back onto the field, once more lost in their carefree laughter, Kiara felt her heart swell with pride. But deep down, she knew this was just the beginning of their journey toward unity. Next time, she whispered to herself, we'll have to prepare for anything. A little unease settled in her stomach at the thought of future challenges ahead. Would they all stand together when the stakes were higher? Kiara looked at the fading shadows of the park, the laughter still ringing in her ears. What more could they face together? And what they would need to do to ensure everyone belonged? As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the park, Kiara felt the pulse of the community around her. Laughter and shouts of joy filled the air, weaving through the sounds of sneakers scuffing against the field and kick of soccer balls. It was a beautiful scene, but the unease still stirred within her. Now that this hurdle is behind us, what's next? She murmured to Ravi, who was still beaming from their triumph. We keep going. He replied confidently, embracing the lingering energy of the crowd. Maybe we can set up a schedule for games? Teamwork, that's what this is about. Kiara nodded, but her mind was racing. She thought about the man who had challenged them, how close to the edge they had been. What had turned him? Had he simply been overwhelmed by their unity? She didn't want to fall into complacency, she needed to be ready. Her thoughts were interrupted as Mrs. Costas approached, fanning herself with a bright yellow paper fan. Did you see him? She asked, pointing back toward the man, who was now talking quietly with a few other parents. He looks a bit reflective. Kiara leaned in, interested. Maybe this is the moment to reach out again? Show him we really mean it? Maybe, Mrs. Costas replied, her brow creasing with uncertainty. But we don't want to push him away either. We need to find a way to invite him in. Just then, Ravi gave a short laugh. Looks like he is talking to Mr. Farouk. They both look serious. The sight filled Kiara with a blend of hope and worry. She initiated a slow approach, with Ravi and Mrs. Costas at her side, uncertainty creeping back into the corners of her mind. A few other parents curiously followed, creating a small group eager to understand. Maybe Mr. Farouk can talk him through it, Kiara suggested. As they got closer, she could hear snippets of conversation. The man's voice was quieter but intense. I just didn't expect it, he was saying. I thought this was decided. Change is never easy, Mr. Farouk replied. But unity can reshape expectations. We're all here for the children. Kiara took a deep breath. Suddenly, she felt very small in front of this conversation. Were they allowing him to express his thoughts without defending themselves? Would it matter? Ravi seemed to sense her hesitation. Be ready, Kiara. No matter what he thinks, we have to keep our hearts open. As they stepped nearer, the man met Kiara's gaze. She swallowed hard. Hi, she said, feeling small beneath his assessing eyes. The man sighed deeply. You really care about this park and your kids, don't you? More than anything, Kiara mustered, her voice gaining strength. I believe every child has the right to play and feel safe. He nodded slowly, a flicker of understanding crossing his features. I never meant to cause trouble. I just was worried things would change. I've lived here a long time. Kiara felt a shift, his apprehension was a crack in the wall of division. Change is hard. But we can make this a place that welcomes everyone, including you. His brows knitted together thoughtfully. What if I helped? My son can't play on a good team if there aren't any teams for everyone to join. Maybe I could assist organizing things. Kiara felt her heart flutter, hope pushing its way through worry. That's a wonderful idea. Let us make it work together. As the conversation unfolded, the rich textures of their community began to weave deeper connections, one thread at a time. Ravi whispered to Kiara, see? Maybe we can turn the corner on this. But just as the clouds of uncertainty began to lift, the park's distant sounds quieted. A loud crash echoed, followed by angry shouts from across the field. Kiara's heart raced again as she turned, a twist of dread in her stomach. What now? She breathed, catching the anxious expressions on everyone's faces. Ravi's grip tightened around her shoulder. Looks like we might have trouble again. With a renewed sense of urgency, Kiara steels herself. How would they stand together now? And what would they face next? From the distant commotion, voices grew louder, sharper. Kiara could make out urgent bursts of anger. A handful of kids had gathered at the edge of the park, their faces contorted with confusion and worry. Kiara pushed through the crowd with Ravi by her side, her heart pounding. What was happening? As they reached the scene, the sight unfolded like a sudden storm. Several boys were standing over a toppled ice cream cart. The vendor, an elderly man with kind eyes, scratched his head, distressed as his precious merchandise spilled across the ground. The colorful tubs and cones lay shattered, a cascade of sticky mess painting the pavement. Faces that had once hinted at laughter now twisted with regret and fear. What happened? Kiara called out, her voice breaking through the chaos. The group shifted, allowing her to see. A boy named Amir, notorious for his wild antics and mischief, stood there, shoulders trembling with guilt. Kiara, it was an accident. We were just trying to play a joke. He stammered, his eyes darting nervously. An accident? She echoed, looking from him to the cart. It was a mess, but more importantly, the ice cream vendor just stood there, looking lost. Your joke hurt someone, Ravi interjected, disappointment flooding his tone. What were you thinking? Amir lowered his head, shame washing over him. The other kids murmured amongst themselves, glancing between each other, trying to decipher how to smooth over the ugly scene they created. Just then, the man from earlier, the one who had been discussed so easily by Kiara and her friends, stepped forward. He pushed through the bystanders, his expression fierce. "What is going on here?" The crowd parted as he leaned closer to the vendor. "Your ice cream brother, let us see what we can do here." Amir's face paled, realizing the gravity of the moment. "I didn't mean for this to happen," he murmured. Kiara's heart ached for Amir, yet she couldn't help but feel infuriated. "There's a way to fix this." Her voice rang out with conviction. "We all have to come together. Let us put things right." The vendor nodded, the lines of worry easing on his face as he looked at the kids gathered around. "It's just ice cream. But we can't play with people's kindness like this." "Okay," Kiara said, suddenly feeling the surge of responsibility. "Everyone chip in. Let us collect what we can. We need to help him restock his cart." It was an idea that ignited hope, a chance for redemption. Amir hesitated for a moment, then extended his hands, as did several others. "We'll help," he said, the resolve in his voice growing. The movement rippled through the group like an electric spark. Kids rushed towards nearby stores and tables, gathering loose change or making offers to help. Kiara felt a flicker of pride. They needed to take action, not just face consequences. As the energy shifted from worried chaos to a playful camaraderie, Kiara stole a glance at the man who had once seemed like a barrier to their plans. His eyes lit up at the sight of them rallying together, and in that moment, a silent agreement formed between them. Kiara realized change didn't have to be a solo endeavor. They could be part of something greater that brought people together. The sun began slipping below the horizon, the warm glow returning as everyone worked to restore what had been lost. A moment of unity began to emerge. But even as they collaborated, Kiara felt the hum of tension still lingering in the park. Something deeper was brewing. Then, just as laughter surfaced, a sharp shout rang out again from the far side of the park. "Enough! Everyone stop!" It was a voice filled with authority. Kiara's heart sank. Who was this new voice? What now would challenge everything they had worked for? She exchanged a glance with Ravi, her mind racing. What direction would this confrontation take? It wasn't just about ice cream anymore. The commotion turned into a hush, the sudden command throwing a veil of uncertainty over the crowd. Kiara's breath hitched in her throat as she turned to see a tall figure marching towards them, the sun setting behind him casting a long shadow across the park. It was Mr. Saeed, the wealthy businessman who had recently moved to their neighborhood. His reputation traveled faster than his car, painting him as a man not to be trifled with. The kids instinctively drew back, their collective body language reflecting anxiety and fear. Kiara felt her stomach twist. A part of her wanted to shrink away, but the other part steeled itself with determination. "What is going on here?" he boomed, his voice reverberating off the trees. "Why are you wasting your time on this?" He pointed a finger at the mess of ice cream. Anger flashed in his eyes, and Kiara could feel the atmosphere shift yet again. Amir shifted uncomfortably, eyes wide. "We were just helping. We didn't mean to ruin anything." Helping? Mr. Saeed's tone dripped with disbelief. "You think you can just trample over others with your childish pranks and think you can fix it?" His gaze swept the crowd, landing on each child, igniting a spark of fear. "What kind of lesson do you think you're learning from this?" Kiara felt her heart race. She wouldn't let Amir's mistake define them all. Drawing a breath, she stepped forward. "We're learning how to take responsibility," she said, surprising even herself with the steadiness in her voice. "We messed up, but we're fixing it. It's not just ice cream, it's about respect." He frowned, clearly taken aback. "Respect? From children that throw things around and cause trouble?" "Exactly," she shot back. "We're trying to be better." The vendor, she gestured toward the elderly man, still standing helplessly by the side, his face etched with worry. "He doesn't deserve this." Mr. Saeed paused, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. Behind him, the talking among the kids started again, a murmuration of unity boring down through fear. Some began to gather the remnants of broken cones, while others worked to salvage whatever ice cream was left. Kiara saw Amir trying to wipe his tears, his lost confidence soaring as other kids approached him with reassurances. "We'll work together, Amir," one girl said. "Everyone makes mistakes." A different kind of tension filled the air, one that was laced with hope and determination. Kiara felt a rush of adrenaline as she glanced at Mr. Saeed. Would her words reach him? Would he understand? "You know," he began, a different edge creeping into his voice, "success isn't built on mistakes alone. It's about how you respond to them." He seemed to wrestle with the dismissal he initially intended to deliver and what was emerging amongst the kids. Kiara held her breath, waiting. Was there a chance for understanding? Amir stepped up beside her, shoulders straightening, filled with renewed courage. "Maybe you could help us, sir. If we can make this right together." The crowd fell silent, all eyes fixed on Mr. Saeed. A moment stretched painfully as he stood there, clearly grappling with the weight of their earnestness. Then, finally, his expression softened just a fraction. "All right," he said, his tone shifting, "let us see what we can do. But it's going to take real work." Relief washed over Kiara but was soon replaced with a nagging fear. Mr. Saeed's approval could come with risks. What expectations would he have of them? What did it truly mean to involve a man like him in their effort? As the sun dipped fully below the horizon, the first stars appeared, each twinkling promise bringing hope and uncertainty. Kiara exchanged glances with Ravi, her heart still racing. They were already navigating a complicated situation, yet perhaps this was only the beginning. "Together, we'll make it work," she whispered to him, uncertainty lacing her hopeful tone, but what would they have to sacrifice to meet that promise? The sweet smell of fresh grass filled the air as Kiara opened her eyes to the dawn of a brand new day. Today was the day they would rebuild, not just the ice cream cart that had toppled, but also the bridges between their community and the walls they had dismantled so courageously. She stood in front of her house, heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Kiara had learned that change was not immediate, it was a slow dance that required negotiation, patience, and courage. The previous night, Mr. Saeed's offer to help had sent ripples through her heart. Their plan had shifted from a simple soccer match to something more impactful. Today, they would all gather, united by a common goal: restoring the ice cream cart and mending relationships that mattered. As Kiara made her way to the park, her mind buzzed with possibilities. She envisioned laughter, excitement, and, most importantly, inclusiveness. Families were beginning to arrive, smiles on their faces, and even the sharp sourness of Mrs. Costas had softened. There she stood, organizing tables, checking in with neighbors, seemingly embracing this newfound community spirit. "Hey Kiara!" Ravi shouted, running towards her with sheer delight. "Everyone's ready. I think the kids are even more excited this time." Kiara felt the bubbles of joy rise inside her, the scene evolving like a dream she had barely dared to believe could come true. She spotted Mr. Farouk, who was already working with some community members, setting up colorful banners that waved joyfully in the breeze. "This place is transforming," Kiara exclaimed, her radiant smile spreading with infectious energy. Moments later, Mr. Saeed arrived, his expression calm as he greeted everyone with sincere warmth. Kiara watched the change in the faces around her as he helped set up, showing that he truly did care. Giggles erupted from children as they created a small station for ice cream toppings, building excitement in the air while old divisions lost their formidable grip. Just then, Amir approached, looking apologetic but determined. "Can I help?" he asked, a glimmer of hope lighting up his eyes. "Of course," Kiara replied eagerly. "This time we're all in it together." It felt liberating to accept him as a part of their journey, a symbol of forgiveness and forward-thinking unity. After a series of heartfelt speeches and laughter, they gathered in a circle, a ring of vibrant lives intertwined. Together, they started to share stories, tales of their struggles and joys. Kiara noticed families hesitating at first, but as connections were made, barriers melted. Amir found himself at the center, recounting how fun it had been to organize last night's festivities. And when we all came together, it felt amazing, like magic. The crowd erupted with applause, resonating with understanding and gratitude. There was an undeniable warmth building, turning suspicions into curiosity, and curiosity into friendship. Eventually, when everyone involved began to rally around the cart, laughter filled the air, drowning out the earlier whispers of insecurity. Mr. Saeed looked at Amir with a smile and said, "Remember, it's how we respond that matters. Let us show everyone that we are better together." And in that moment, like a panorama swirling in vibrant colors, Kiara felt it, a true change blossoming right before her eyes. They all agreed on setting days for community activities that would bring everyone back together, whether for soccer matches or just sharing meals, each occasion an opportunity for connection. As the sun dipped towards the horizon, illuminating the park in a warm golden glow, Kiara stood there, overwhelmed with pride. She saw her neighborhood as a living tapestry, woven with stories, laughter, and compassion. The air was thick with promise, a sense of purpose energizing their hearts. Looking at Mr. Farouk and Mr. Saeed, united beside them, Kiara realized they had forged a family, a new version of community that melded together differences, celebrating even the tiny moments. "Together, we made magic," she said quietly to Ravi. Her heart full. "Yeah," he nodded, happiness shining in his eyes. "Together." And with that, a bond was solidified. They understood in the depths of their hearts, they had the power to create something beautiful, a new legacy that embraced every soul connected to their lives. Kiara beamed, eyes sparkling with joy and hope. Today marked the beginning of something great, and she was ready for every single moment yet to come. You need to subscribe now to follow Kiara and the community as they continue this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.